Good morning, Misfits. It is Woke Wednesday on the Daily Breakdown. I am your host, Zach Bonfilio, aka The Misfit Patriot. Welcome all LFA family members, new viewers, haters, all of you. All right, it's good to be here. All right, so we got Funmon, Portland refugee. That's funny. Ms. Mocha Powered, P Year Out, Will Johnson, Bomba, Eden, Great Guy, Gary, JJNSAEX. Alrighty, let's go. So, today's show is called Autocratic Socialist Stupidity, right? because they really are just showing their ass. So what does democracy mean? Right, because I was under the impression, right, that it was the people, they choose things, right? Like that's basically what I thought. Like in a nutshell, right? People, they choose things, they vote on things, and then the people in power, they're supposed to do things. For instance, right, if you vote in like a womanizing Nazi sympathizer, like I mean, hey, that's a choice, but it was your choice. And for some reason, the Democrat Party doesn't like it when their voters choose things, right? So they just change them, right? That's more of an autocracy, right? So like for those of you that aren't aware, right, an autocracy, it is more centralized around like one person, but it basically takes choice away from people, right? It's like it's one ruler, but we'll just call the Democrat Party the autocrat, right? The collective establishment, right? They've done this so many times. I don't understand how their voters aren't like mad about it, right? And I think some of them are, but like for instance, right, Bernie Sanders, he's gotten screwed over a couple times. What was it? What was the guy's name in New York? Was it Cuomo or was it De Blasio? Was it De Blasio or Cuomo? I think it was Cuomo, right? They just did it to what the heck's his name? Well, they kind of did it to Spencer Pratt, who wasn't necessarily like a Democrat, but they kind of cheated in the California election. And I think that there's actually some good news here, right? Because if you think about it, when they've done this before, it actually hasn't worked. When they swapped out Joe Biden late in the game, it didn't work. It kind of like it disenfranchised a significant amount of their voters where they just sort of didn't show up. And it's one thing to do it in a primary, right, where it doesn't matter. Like, Kathy Hochul, yeah, that she's obviously it obviously worked in that situation. But when they do it in some type of like general election where both sides are voting, I think we're going to be surprised at the outcome in November. I mean, maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I think we're going to see a walkaway movement. Right? Like I hope we are, but I also really think we are. I'm not just this isn't just wishful thinking. If you look at the turnout for these like DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, like primaries, right? There was the demographics that were voting for the DSA candidates aren't who you think they are, right? It wasn't like minority. It wasn't the base. It wasn't um, the usual base for the Democrats, right? Like minority voters and low income, et cetera, et cetera. It was liberal white women essentially. It was high income liberal like trust fund people who are just these entitled, social justice warriors. And while they are a significant portion of deep blue districts, they are not in the majority of the country. They are not in the majority of like all districts. They really are consolidated in these blue sanctuary cities. And with those alone, I don't think they have enough to win. I maybe I'm wrong, but and I'm not saying don't be worried about it. I'm saying, this is just information that you can add into your overall just like we need to understand exactly what's going to happen so we can figure out how we're going to address November, right? So, I'm very excited to show you guys this. I worked on the midterm cheat sheet website for like 4 hours yesterday, right? and it is looking pretty good. Okay, so this is updated, right? The homepage is pretty much the same, except I added the big red button here. So this is the what I'm trying to do to help us win in November, right? I think that we should all be doing something, right? If you can join a campaign, if you can door knock. Remember, we do the MAGA pack strategy, right? So the motivate, assemble, shoot, what is it? Grind, and achieve, right? And then the pack is post. Um, what is it? Post. Shoot, now I can't remember. Anyway, and then call and door knock, right? So what was the other A? We'll figure it out. But part of this strategy is I wanted to make a website where it is just the crucial winnable races for the midterms, right? Very consolidated, right? 18 to 25-ish races. So here's the midterm cheat sheet updated so far. I put up all the toss-ups. So this is 18 races that are toss-up districts. So these are winnable, right? So you go to the race page. Here's Jay Feely, Arizona 1. It's a short description. I just pulled it offline. It's not that important. We're really just trying to make a cheat sheet so people know which are the races that we have to win, because then you can message them, right? Like you can say, all right, this is obviously an important race. It's on the cheat sheet website. But you go to learn more, it will take you to each candidate's website, right? So that's good. Got Arizona 6, we got California 22, Colorado 8, Florida 25, Iowa 1. You don't have to like all of these candidates, by the way. Just vote for them, right? This is about winning. This isn't about, feelings. This is about winning. Because while I am optimistic about November, if I'm wrong and the left gets power back, they have pretty much let everyone in this country know that they're going to destroy America, right? It's not a maybe. They're going to do it, right? The radical wing of their party has taken over the party. They are pandering to them. They are, I mean, look at them they're getting out Graham Plattner for a reason, right? They're like, yeah, he's radical, but he's not who they want. And I'll show you that in a second. But also on here, I have join Sway, right? I've told you guys about Sway. I made a little tab here. So this is a button to join Sway. It's on the midterm cheat sheet. And if you guys haven't seen me hammer this on the show, Sway is essentially, it's just a group. It's just like it's a group that everybody can join, and it'll show me where you are on the map, what your district is, what your state is. That way I can send out targeted messaging. Okay, so yesterday I sent out some messages to 3 people in the group to Arizona, because Arizona has the primary election coming up on August 4th, and I think you only have a couple days left to register for early voting. So that's how Sway works. In fact, let me see if I can go to my dashboard and show you. Yes, here you go. So look, sent messages, right? This is what I sent out to 3 people. The bigger we grow this group, the more people I'll be able to message, obviously, right? But election season is in full swing. Primary election set for July 21st. Early ballots have been sent out, and early voting starts June 24th. Or wait, July. Oh, early voting started. Okay. Oh, Friday, July 10th is the last day to request an early ballot. So if you didn't know that and you join my Sway, you're going to get a text message from me or an email, depending on what you sign up with. It's a really good tool where I can essentially become like a Scott Presler type, where I can message and get out information to anybody that's in my group. So I really highly recommend you join this. It's sway.co/misfits. There's a tab under my beacons link. It's up at the top. It's on the website, Misfits Midterm Cheat Sheet. I'm trying to make this super accessible for you. In just a couple weeks, we got 70 voters. And we're going to keep growing this after the midterms, by the way. We're just going to change the name of the page to 2028, right? We're going to do this every time. We're going to build a coalition of ground game, just Misfit Army. And you can join. And it's going to be how we win elections. We're going to win them together instead of just typing on the internet. So you're in the middle of scrolling and you're like, okay, yeah, he said something. This is going to be very direct communication right to you. So check that out. Check out Midterm Cheat Sheet. ActiveVote, we already talked about that before. This is an app that you can get so that you can know where the races are in your district, and you can fill out ballots and print them out. So when you go on election day, you can actually have all of your picks that you've done the research on. Another good tool. But yeah, this isn't like a crazy thing that I'm doing. I mean, I pay for the website. I spend some time putting together the website. It's really not like it's not hard to get involved, right? And I'm doing more than most. So all you got to do, join Sway right here. Click this button. All right, let's get to the show. Okay, so we have the daily breakdown on top of Woke Wednesday. Woke Wednesday is just going to be pretty much a theme. Obviously, we're talking about the left, which is woke. Zach, please post the link. The link, I told you, sway.co/misfits. I don't post it where? In the chat? Somebody else do that for me. All right. So there's some news about the Iran conflict, and this isn't going to be like an "I told you so" thing, but it's kind of leaning towards what I thought might be happening with the MOU, right? So Trump says the ceasefire is over after the U.S. and Iran trade strikes. President said peace talks can continue, but are a waste of time as the flare-up threatens to overshadow the NATO summit. Here's the clip. Sean Farish posted this. 2 minutes, 28 seconds, but I think we should watch it because I think it's pretty breaking for news.
Ceasefire over. Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
All right, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much it. I mean, he keeps talking, but so I said this when everyone was freaking out about the MOU, right? Because Trump is trying to make a deal with them, right? I was saying, I think he's trying to make a deal, but I also said if they don't honor it, Trump is not the type of guy who's going to like stick by his end of the deal when they're not, right? I said he will just bomb them again. And that's what he did, right? I think he's exhausted all options. I think he's actually gone above and beyond past exhausting all options. And I don't know. I don't really want to, say that he's like done and like because we've seen this over and over again. He uses it as a negotiating tactic, but the tone seems a little different this time where I think he might just be like, okay, that's it, right? It's going to be bridge and power plant day. The reason why he doesn't want to do that, obviously, is because if he goes full send, then it's going to either lead to a boots on the ground or higher gas prices or, just more of the woke right, woke left, both of them screaming like, oh, no new wars, right? But at this point, you gotta make the crappy decision or the crappier decision. And I think Trump might just go, hey, you know what? We'll just keep a presence there for the next 4 or 5 months until the midterms are over and then go full send. That could be a good idea. But it's a long time. It's a long time to hold them off, and they know it. Because they think they have leverage because of the midterms. Trump has proven time and time again he will make a decision that doesn't look like it's politically advantageous and surprise everybody. So we'll see what happens. But back to this story. It looks like this is from CNN. As you just heard, right? President Trump said it's over, but the negotiators can keep talking. Surge of attacks. The IRGC basically, they they were firing on ships in the Strait of Hormuz, right? And because they wanted them to like turn around, and the ships were following the orders from the U.S. and I believe Oman. And so the IRGC, like this is what I'm saying, like the IRGC, they can't just keep firing on people and bombing their allies and neighbors and then say we're the ones violating when we respond, right? This is how they do it over and over again. This is how they did it in the Gaza Israel conflict, where it was like Hamas would like fire rockets into Israel. Israel would fire back, and they'd be like, "Look at you, you're committing a genocide." It's like this is how they do it. It's a strategy. It's an intentional strategy because they don't care whether or not people, like regular people, know who started it. They just need enough people to believe their side, right? It's a propaganda tactic. So the only I think, and I've said this before, and people don't like hearing it, right? People really don't like hearing this, but I think the best way to handle it is to just one and done, right? Just a massive, like, I'm not saying nuke, but I'm saying like nuke-ish, right? Like you gotta just go, okay, no, you're done. I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission, right? That's I don't think you can do that before the midterms though, because that will I think that would be bad. So it's a tough situation. This is what it's like being a world leader. You know, you got to deal with these tough decisions, and we'll see how Trump handles it. Honestly, I just don't care. I mean, whatever he does, I'm gonna be like, yeah, all right. I mean, unless he like literally like gives them everything they want, which he won't do. I trust him. I voted for him. I trust him. He's got a good track record. So, see what happens. All right. Next up, we're gonna pick up where we left off yesterday. Okay. So this is from the Washington Post. They're not gonna let us read it. Okay. That's fine because we have tabs for this. Okay. Ex-girlfriend of Graham Plattner says he removed condoms without consent during sex. Jeez. The campaign for the Democratic Senate Maine candidate called the allegation categorically false and politically motivated. Okay, so we left off yesterday with the Graham Plattner thing, right? And how they're going to like swap him out. He's got new allegations. Here's why I think the allegations are true, right? Because not only are they backed up with a lot of evidence, right? But this woman just posted, Lindsay Fifield. She writes, I understand why Democrat leaders didn't take our stories seriously when the Times reported them in June, but are taking them seriously now. It was by design. The line most shared from the piece was the claim that the Times could not corroborate my story despite talking to two of my friends. So this is the New York Times. She talked to the New York Times, and she's saying that this is all the information she gave them. I gave them contact information for 5 friends. They called 2 who I clarified would not know about the abuse, but would be able to affirm our relationship timeline. They simply did not call the other 3. I also gave them the names of all my former roommates who remembered him stalking our row house and waiting for me to return. I gave them screenshots of the messages between the roommates and I discussing it. I gave them the names of the other men I dated who might have remembered him following us around. I gave them emails to my landlord urgently ending my lease and moving to an apartment across town, all time stamped. I told them that during the premarital counseling, I had spoken to my ex fiance about the abuse. They said, oh no, we don't need to bother him because I had written about it in my diary in detail. As the weeks dragged on, I stopped trying to give them evidence because the amount I had already given them, the New York Times, seemed to overwhelm them and thought they clearly had more than enough to verify my claim. My friends may not have known the details of the abuse, but they affirmed that yes, I had told them he was abusive. Besides, New York Times, they assured my part in their reporting would be small, though my details would only serve to affirm Jenny and the other anonymous women. Jenny and I have never spoken. Both shared these reports. Terrifyingly similar details of intimate partner violence, coercive control, cycles of abuse, love bombing. Third unnamed woman is in the story as well. But tell me again how they could not corroborate. Like New York Times said they could not corroborate all of this information that this woman gave them. Now, here's another woman. I was one of the friends. The Times never contacted me. Other reporters now have. I'm not hard to get a hold of. So, essentially, right? And I talked about this yesterday. Sean talked about this yesterday. This is how I don't. It probably works on the Republican side too, but this is how the swampy, gross little political blackmail system works, right? You could have a real victim from this guy, a real victim, and the Democrats and the New York Times and everybody in this little political little bubble, right? They know it. They know about it. They have the evidence for it. Just like Eric Swalwell's video of him like making out with that prostitute on the bed. You think they didn't have that lined up? The sitting in like in a hard drive? Of course they did, right? And they have all this dirt. They have this dirt on as many people as possible, right? And they don't do anything with it until it's politically advantageous, right? That's insane, right? It's like they literally knew, like the New York Times knew that this woman had like all sorts of evidence, but they reported on this weeks ago as uncorroborated and Plattner denies these claims. It's like, dude, what? And now she's coming out and she's like, yeah, like I finally realize it. This was on purpose. Like a lot of people will dismiss it as incompetence. It's not. It's all intentional, right? So if they have dirt on somebody and that somebody becomes a problem, they get rid of that somebody, right? That's how it works. I mean, you got the, I think it was Andrew Cuomo thing. You got the Eric Swalwell thing. You got, there's a couple others. And it's like you see this happen, right? That's why they call it October surprise. The reason why they can always predict an October surprise is because they know the way the system works. There's probably a file of Oppo research that they have, and they can do it to their own party. And the Democrats do it all the time. I'm not saying the Republicans are perfect. I'm not saying that there aren't scumbags in the GOP who have dirt. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the Democrats seem to do this way more, right? Which means either A, there's way more dirt in that party on that side, or Republicans are just like, they're like, I'm not gonna, friendly fire. I don't know. But either way, it's pretty clear that it happens, right? So, as I said yesterday, right? They have this new Senate poll that comes out like immediately after they railroad Plattner. Again, you can railroad somebody and have them be guilty of the thing that you're railroading them for. All right. So just to be clear, these are not mutually exclusive. Just because it's a hit job doesn't mean it's true. It's probably true and it's a hit job. Okay. But they got this guy, Troy Jackson, who's already filing to run in the Senate, right? You're already getting ready. He's already just warming up. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to come out. I'm going to come out. Right. And this, I would say, is something that probably didn't drop from the Democrats. This probably was actual Oppo research that maybe somebody on the right dropped, right? So this is from Breitbart. Leftist group. Actually, wait a minute. Maybe it was from the left. Okay. Leftist group reveals troubling allegation against potential Plattner replacement. The far left group Progressive Victory is a left. Jeez, I was wrong there. Okay, never mind. Never mind. I stand corrected. I should have probably read this, but the far left group Progressive Victory is unveiling a troubling allegation against a political candidate to replace Democrat Graham Plattner in Maine, alleging that this individual struck a female colleague with a bottle he threw at her during a disagreement, corroborated by several witnesses. So Plattner is facing more than an uphill battle after yet another controversy bubble up. This time, a woman alleges that Plattner broke into her home, sexually assaulted her. She alleges he came into her home. Okay, so basically, the Democrats' roster is just fantastic. Okay, it's like they're, and look, I was talking to Sean about this when the Plattner thing dropped, right? Sean says, okay, they're going to try to replace him and they're going to do like a Kathy Hochul. And I told him, he's like, if they run a moderate, then that's good. And I go, oh, no. No, they're not. That's actually not good. First of all, they're not going to run a moderate, right? It wouldn't be good if they did run a moderate because that's how like the chick in Virginia just won, right? They pretend to be a moderate and then they come in and they just go full full socialist. But no, I said it would be better if they're going to run a Democratic Socialist backed candidate, and that's better. And so, like, and me and Sean might disagree on this, but that's fine, right? But here's my thought process behind that. It's better if they run an awful candidate to replace the awful candidate, right? Because you're going to have the disenfranchised Graham Plattner voters who realize, like, okay, you guys took my choice away from me because while we agree that guy was bad and we just didn't know because you told us you told us to vote for him, you endorsed him, you pushed him in our face, and it backfired. Now you're going to replace him with another guy who's like, we don't trust you anymore, right? If they run a moderate, it would show their voters that they actually are trying to do the right thing, but they're not. They're not going to do that. This guy, Troy, I would bet is going to be the candidate, despite just beating up women, and I'm sure that there's going to be more that comes out. They do look, the left is not learning their lesson ever, right? Because they are all in, they are throwing Hail Marys only. They are not playing any type of strategy anymore. They are not trying to, come towards the center and win back the base. They are we're going to win by putting in the most radical, and we're going to hope we can steal the election, and then we are going to fundamentally change the country. That's their plan. If it works, we are screwed. If it doesn't, they are screwed. That's why it's a Hail Mary. It's going to work out one way or the other, but either scenario, look, the Democrats are either going to successfully pull off this, right, or we're going to stop them. We need to take it very seriously. But we also need to acknowledge that you only throw a Hail Mary when you're losing, right? By a lot. And they are throwing Hail Marys. They know they are losing. Their internal polling is telling them that they are losing. Otherwise, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't drop this, right? They wouldn't expose their own side. They like every time they've done this, right? In an important election, Hillary Clinton, she didn't beat Trump. Kamala Harris, she didn't beat Trump. It might work, but I'm optimistic at this point. But I mean, look at these people. Swapping out Graham Plattner is obviously the right move. It should probably be Troy Jackson. These people are not learning their lesson at all. DSA endorses Troy Jackson. This is not a moderate. This is who the radical left wants, which is why the Democrats are going to get in line and appease their radical base because, like I told you, their new plan is burn it all down. They're not trying to move back to the center at all. There's only there's a coalition of Democrats that just came out, and they're against this Democrat socialist. They're like, we're for capitalism and patriotism. You know how many there are? 13. Yeah, no, you heard that right. There's over 200 Democrats. 13 of them are moderate. You think that they're gonna give power back? You think that they're going to, if they ever do get in power, you think that they're gonna go, okay, we got a little crazy, but don't worry, we're actually not that bad. No, they are that bad. They have pushed all of their chips into the center of the table, and they are all in, right? We need to call, and we need to be holding pocket rockets or something because this is high stakes. It's going to be very, very high stakes. All right, let's get back to the news. We'll jump into that story in a minute. All right, so Trump at this at the NATO, is it the NATO conference, I think? I can't remember. So he's saying that Spain is not contributing enough to NATO, and says that he wants to cut off all trade with Spain. I agree. I think we should cut off a lot of quote partners. We're we produce enough to self-sustain. We are basically we're getting the crappy end of the deal with almost like all of these long-term trade negotiations and trade deals, and Trump is coming in and he's going, okay, fine, we're just done. We don't need you. Okay, so it's at a conference in Turkey. That's right. Okay. So this is the article from CNBC. President Trump has slammed Spain for not contributing enough to NATO as the defense alliance battles mounting friction among allies. Quote, Spain is a terrible partner in NATO. They don't participate. They don't pay. I don't want anything to do with Spain. Cut off all trade with Spain, please, including visits, he said at a news conference with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Quote, don't even talk to them. They're hopeless bad people. I wish he would clarify, right? He's like, because it sounds like he's saying like people of Spain are bad. He means that the people he's negotiating with. The president said there are a couple others, but in particular Spain, he added, referring to other NATO members that he says should be spending more money on military capabilities. Okay. So we spend, I think it's like 80% of, we cover like 80% of NATO, right? Here's Poland. Poland, 4.5%. Then you have Latvia, Estonia, and it all just keeps going down. But let's go to, okay, so the US, 3.12, UK, 2.35. Let's see here. Canada, 1.6. And Canada is now starting to do this, like, this little decouple from the United States where they're, like, you know, partnering up with China and trying to create new trade alliances with China. Let me know how that works out. Because the US basically props up the entire Canadian economy, right? We like without us, if we just literally, if we said, all right, fine, you're on your own, let's see how well you do with China. Okay. You guys are playing a dangerous game up there in snow Mexico. But yeah, so I don't understand why we even pay so much because it's not even our region, right? Like we literally cover most of NATO and it's not our region. It's over here. We got a big ocean in between us. So I mean, we're very generous, but you know, generosity, when you take advantage of that, eventually somebody might just say, all right, screw you. So there's a lot going on right now with the, you know, with Trump. I think that people are just sort of fatigued with the, you know, overreaction to everything he says, and people aren't like losing their mind over it. Probably because also there's like, you know, the Charlie Kirk trial going on and all the crazy stuff that's going on online. People's attention are a little bit divided. Let's see, recap support. I saw a story about this. This is from News 4 in New York. Support beams buckle in Manhattan high rise. The FDNY. 2 structural beams on the 21st floor of a 37-story. Oh, it's under construction. Oh, great. Looks like they're building it properly. In Manhattan started buckling, triggering mass evacuations. Raw footage from inside taken by a construction worker shows an entire floor full of badly bent steel beams. I wonder if they're who knows what I'm gonna say. Who knows what I'm gonna say? Okay. Let's see here. Let's see if anybody in the chat gets it. Okay, it's under construction. It's in New York. And there's a lot of labor that might a lot of labor that might not be, let's say, I don't know, properly trained and illegals. They're using illegal labor to build it. That's why it's buckling. That's why it's buckling. They're using illegal labor. Like this. Look, I was a contractor. Well, I am a contractor, but I was also a contractor in Massachusetts when I started my business. Right, and in order to be a contractor in Massachusetts, because the heavy regulation, right, in order to get licensed, you have to get be a licensed contractor, right? They don't have that in Texas. That's way looser regulations down here. But in order to be a licensed contractor, right, you have to study the 500-page International Residential Code, International Building Code, the amendments book. It's like a 7-week course where they basically teach you how to go through all of the books, and it's just a ton of material. And the way that they the way that they essentially um, structure the course, because they understand that people aren't going to read like, 2 500-page books and an amendment book and retain all of that information. They basically just teach you how to tab the books, right? They teach you how to color code and tab the books so you can find the information, because it's an open book test. What people would do is they would send what a lot of people do and still do. They would send their secretaries, their assistants, the people that work in their office to go and become the licensed contractor. So the guy that like owns the company, the guy that does all the work, right? The CEO, owner, operator, he wouldn't bother going and doing that. He would send like a 19-year-old female who works for the company to go and become the licensed contractor so they could pull the permits. They've never picked up a hammer in their life. They're not actually going to do any work. And when you have that like heavy regulation, it's like that's all they care about. They just care about whether or not you have the proper paperwork, whether or not you have the proper certifications, the red tape. But then these guys would hire like the worst people ever, and nobody would actually follow the actual building code. And there was always issues because the people who are actually supposed to be trained and licensed and know the information didn't, but the girl in the office did, or at least knew how to find it. And that's how it works in like in places like New York, Massachusetts, where there's all this regulation. All they want is their money. They just want the money that you paid for the license, the money you paid for the course, and they actually like it when you're not trained, because they come in and they impose fines, and they come in and they shut the project down, and then the city gets more money. It's such a messed up system. OSHA, yeah, OSHA. No, no OSHA here. So I would assume, and I don't know this for sure, I would assume that this building is being put together by Jose, Hose B, Hose C, and Hose D, and they didn't do it right, and that's why it's buckling and falling apart. Here's the video right here. Yeah. Yeah, looks like, but I mean, we get all this labor, they contribute. Looks like they're contributing a lot. Dude, I would look and look before you're like, oh, that's a bold assumption. I've been in this business for over 20 years. It's not an assumption. It's the highest probability. Like I have been on all of these job sites, and these people, the guys that are working, they don't speak a word of English. None. All right. So, moving on, we have. Well, I just wanted to cover this really quick. Sean posted this. Today is the sentencing day for the disgusting judge who believes that she's above the law. The former Wisconsin judge who basically like let an illegal immigrant out of the back of the courtroom and like obstructed ICE. She's going to be apparently sentenced today, and I hope they give her the maximum. We need to start sending a message to these activist judges that they're not above the law. And I think this would be a good opportunity to use her as an example, make an example out of her. I mean, it's not like she didn't do anything wrong. She literally broke the law blatantly. So maximum sentence, hopefully, we'll see. All right, now let's get to the Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Tyler Robinson stuff. Right, it's been all over the internet. Candace and her little cult, they are spiraling because now all of the evidence is actually being made public, and it's proving that they're dirty, filthy liars. So they're just, they're doing what every, narcissistic sociopath, pathological liar does when they get caught in a lie. They're just lying more, and they're moving the goalposts. But I did a lot of posting yesterday, right? Because I've ignored Candace for a while because it wasn't the right move to like keep highlighting her while nothing was really going on. But now it's like I've been watching them dig their own grave, and now we're just dumping dirt right on top of them. But this is from the BBC. Suspect ate at Chick-fil-A and interacted with Charlie Kirk's staff before the shooting. Court hears the man accused of shooting Charlie Kirk strolled around campus, ate a meal at Chick-fil-A, interacted with conservative activists. The court's heard. Tyler Robinson, 23, also returned close to the Utah Valley University crime scene afterwards and briefly interacted with an officer. Details of Robinson's alleged movements were shared on the second day of the trial. So if you listen to Candace, she was on Sean Ryan, and she said that Tyler Robinson was never even on the campus. She's like, he was never even there. That was her claim, her bold claim. Now that it's proven that he was there, Candace Owens is trying to say that it's not him, right? What is her evidence for this claim, right? She's like, how tall is he? So this looks like legit, like it looks like she's talking to herself, right? How tall is Tyler Robinson? Responding to herself. Tyler Robinson is just above 5'10". I don't think she knows how math works, but no, right? Like the 70, which would be 5'10", is lined up with basically the crown of his like hairline. So he's probably more like 5'11", right? So just above 5'10", right? So this is Candace's claim. I think it's down here. Yeah, here you go. See, this is a more accurate photo. It's like she cropped it off on purpose. I'm trying to find. All right, whatever. I'm not gonna. I thought this was the. So there was a girl that walks by Tyler in this clip right before this guy, and she looks like she's taller than Tyler Robinson. And so Candace Owens evidence that this person in this video is not Tyler Robinson is because she saw a girl who looked taller than him and said that that can't be Tyler Robinson because that girl is taller. Like there's no such thing as a tall girl. Like there's no woman has ever grown over 5'10" ever. But if you look here, this guy is standing on the exact same step as Tyler Robinson, and he is much taller than him as well. So unless this dude is like 75 feet tall, yeah, Tyler Robinson's probably 5'10", 5'11"-ish. And what are we talking about? Right? So Candace, and this is, I don't like to highlight Candace, like, because she's doing this on purpose to get attention usually. But when she's spiraling out and explaining herself, that's when you highlight her, right? When she's explaining, she's losing, right? When she's theorizing, she's winning. When you're explaining why her theory is wrong, you're usually losing unless she's spiraling, in which case it's kind of like the scene from Braveheart. Hold, 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 now. So this is the now moment. All right, so this is Candace. Sorry, I refuse to obey the party's final instructions not to believe your own eyes. The video is showing a man that looks to me to be 6'2", minimally, possibly 6'3". Tyler Robinson is about 5'11". Okay, she added the inch finally after being called out. If you count his hair according to his mugshot. I do not believe that is Tyler Robinson walking up the staircase. Okay, so again, if Tyler Robinson, if Candace Owens thinks that Tyler Robinson is 6'2", how tall is this guy? He's like a foot taller than Tyler Robinson, right? There's also a better video of Tyler Robinson actually next to the female, and she wasn't even that tall. It's just the way the camera angle works. It's called shoot, what is it called? Perception. Like this is you can't judge a person's height by a video of a staircase, right? It's Tyler Robinson, you moron. It's not even the only video of him. He's also walking through the parking lot. He's walking all over the place. It's him. She's crazy. I think what we're gonna do tomorrow is we're gonna really go in depth and debunk for 2A Thursday. We're gonna debunk all of the firearm conspiracies, right? But and I'm gonna try to get back Gary. If I can get back Gary from Paramount Tactical, that would be great. If not, I'll do it myself. But the amount of new theories, because they have to move the goalposts because they're being exposed because they lied this whole time, like the grifters, the sensationalists, the conspiracy theorists. Now it's there's no footage of the shot that killed Charlie Kirk. So that means, well, you can't prove it, right? Unless you literally have a video of Tyler Robinson taking the shot, then that's proof that he didn't take the shot, right? Or maybe the reason why he went up to the roof where there was no cameras and laid in a prone position where the crowd couldn't see him was so people wouldn't film him taking the shot. That's kind of how it works. He cased the place 4 different times. You think he was going to like lay down under a security camera? What is wrong with you people? Right? This is insane. This is where they're at. They can only move the goalpost so far. And that's the thing. This is why you need to keep pressuring them now. Right? Now that it's front page news, now that it's in the cycle, keep hammering them, and then when it's over, go back to ignoring them. But the more they keep moving the goalpost, the more people are going to look at them and go, wow, these people really are crazy. I was on board for a while, but now I realize that all those other people are actually right. That's the strategy. Right? I do believe, somebody in the chat, I do believe there's, oh gosh, I'm going to try to be nice to you. I do believe there's a second shooter too from behind. Why? Why? Why do you believe that? Well, do you believe it just because you want to believe it? Because I believe that there was a second shooter in the Butler assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Why? Because I heard 2 different guns. That's my reasoning. Did you hear 2 different guns? Do you have any reason to believe that other than you want to? I don't understand why I don't understand why it's so hard for people to go, okay, here's the evidence that we have. Okay? It points to Tyler Robinson. Okay? Is it possible that there's some crazy conspiracy? Sure. It's possible. Can your theory just be based on evidence? I'll give you a good one, right? Tower 7. Tower 7 blew up on its own after 9/11. There is no effing way that Tower 7 was hit by a plane or debris or it caught on fire and it fell down like that. That was a controlled demolition. I'm fine with you saying that. That is a theory based on evidence, right? Why did they blow up Tower 7? Because I saw Tower 7 blow up. That's a theory based on evidence, right? It's a conspiracy theory based on evidence. Can you prove it? No. That's what makes it a theory. But saying that there was a second shooter at the Charlie Kirk assassination, why? What do you have? Why did you say that? Why did your brain do that? Why did you type that? What's wrong with you? There's none, nothing, not one thing, nothing, other than I want it to be true, maybe. It's just, you guys got to start using your brain, critical thinking, deductive reasoning. Look, conspiracy theories are like brain rot too. It's like they really do. Like the more you go down rabbit holes, the more you get lost in them. I have no problem with conspiracy realists who have some type of theory based on some type of evidence, right? Even if you can't prove it, as long as there's some type of foundation, I can get on board with it. But when you guys start talking about bee cults and exploding microphones and blah, 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 you're just saying, I want this to be true, so I thought of a way that it possibly could be, even though it's highly unlikely and there's no evidence to support it. That's what you're doing. And it's gross. Stop doing that. All right, so Jeremy Boring wrote this op-ed. Candace Owens and operators like her, I believe, are knowingly and willfully lying to their audience because it pays. That's part of it. That's part of it. I also think that she's doing it because she's a sociopath who's trying to get Erica Kirk killed, but this is definitely true as well. All right. Oh, can you not read it? Never mind. I'm not doing that. We're not subscribed. Sorry, Jeremy. I like you. You're great, but I'm not paying $2 a month to read that. But essentially, I mean, we don't need the whole article. It's pretty self-explanatory. Yes, she's 100% doing this for profit because sensationalism sells, and the more you can, grift your audience and confuse them and keep them engaged and keep them emotional, the more they will tune in, right? And speaking of, right, Ben Shapiro breaks this down very well, okay? This is watching Candace Owens at this point, like subscribing to her, going and giving her engagement and views and clicks and likes. I'm not talking about if you see a clip of her. I'm talking about if you actually go to her page and you contribute to her monetization. That's like watching torture. That's like paying for torture porn. right? It's like you don't have to like it. It still makes you complicit, and it still incentivizes the people that are making it to keep making it, right? So at this point, if you are doing that, right, you are part of the problem. You should not be going to Candace's page and subscribing or clicking or giving her anything. That's a hard line for me. I did it once, or I literally watched her show one time, um, and I couldn't get through 20 minutes, right? Because I refuse to do that. I refuse to contribute to that. But here's Ben Shapiro, 30 seconds.
So here's the thing. It's an actual sin to listen to Candace Owens spew this evil trash. If you do, you're giving her your time, which means that obviously she's making a lot of money off of this sort of stuff. But what's far more important than the money, because money is just money. But what's far more important, if you give her your brain cells to kill, you are harming yourself, you are harming the world. Stop pretending that you're subscribing to ideological pornography just because it's entertaining. It's soul destroying, not just for Erica Kirk or her children or the people at TPUSA, but for you, and then for the country. So here's the thing.
Yeah, nope, I agree. I agree completely. It's just like porn. It's just like, doing. I mean, look, dismissing it as a guilty pleasure is like that's okay, but is it really, right? Is it a guilty pleasure, or is it some type of fetish kink? I don't know, right? Where it's like my dad used to love watching Jerry Springer, right? It's a guilty pleasure. It's kind of, it's like there's no value in it. He's not getting smarter by watching it. But I would make the argument that it was entertaining, and while it was a little bit silly, I don't think it's really hurting anybody. What she's doing is like Ben just said, ideological pornography. It's porn. It's a form of pornography. It's gross, disgusting behavior that actually does harm people. Like I said, she's actually weaponizing her followers against other people. So not only that, but like even when you're watching porn, you're really the only people that are getting hurt are a chick with daddy issues, I think. But at this point, any eyeballs you put on her page, you're part of the problem. All right. All right, we're going to cover this in depth tomorrow. I'm going to give you a warning. There is naughty language in this video, but this is going a little viral, 199,000 views. This is me debunking the Tyler Robinson didn't have a gun, and it's pretty fun. 2 minutes. We got 6 minutes left in the show. Perfect. All right.
Fair warning.
We're going to do
Language.
this one again.
Oh my God, Tyler Robinson bent his leg. Okay, what do you think that proves? It's not what it proves, it's what it disproves. So you couldn't have had a gun in there.
Really? Okay, Buttercup. Which one? That one. Now, there are two ways this could have been done. All right. Number one, stick the whole damn rifle down your pant leg, which would probably make it a little bit difficult to bend said knee. But let's try it anyway, because the second one is way more believable, and it's actually what fucking happened. There is now a rifle in my fucking pants. Watch. Just to be very clear, we'll go into this more tomorrow. I understand that this looks ridiculous, and it's not what he did. That's why I said we'll do it anyway, but this isn't what happened. This isn't what Tyler Robinson did, just to be clear. But I can still bend my leg. Full rifle. The other far more likely scenario, considering they found a fucking screwdriver on the roof, is they disassembled the rifle. It's 2 screws. I make myself laugh. Somebody has to. There you go. Oh. By the way, that's how pretty much like every hunting rifle breaks down, every modern hunting rifle. Now, there's a rifle on my persons. Watch this. To put it back together, you literally just do this. And then this. And then screw. Takes about 20 seconds. Okay, go fuck yourself. All right, so, look, when I debunk people, I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it to make an entertaining video that's educational for you, and that's what that was. But look, here's a photo of the same rifle model that Tyler Robinson used, right? And yes, it's the same size as the one I use. That's a Ruger American Predator, has a 23-inch barrel. The Mauser Sportster has a 22 to 24-inch barrel. They're pretty much, it's very, very similar, right? And I'm 5'8", Tyler Robinson is 5'10", so he's a little skinnier than me. Either way, and that would actually make it easier for him. But look here, what are those? Those are 2 screws, flatheads. They found a screwdriver on the roof. So one could probably make a reasonable assumption that Tyler Robinson was walking around with the lower assembly, the chassis, and the upper assembly on both sides. That's why he was walking funny, but he was still able to bend his legs, still able to move around. And when he got to the roof, he just clicked, put 2 screws in, which would have taken about 20 seconds, and then he took the shot. And then when he ran away, the gun was assembled. That's clear in the video. Like, debunking these, it's not for them. I'm not trying to do any type of validation on them, but it's important that you guys know, because you probably just were like, I didn't know that. Some of you might have just been like, I didn't know that. And now you are more informed. They're not going to be informed, right? When you debunk them, they don't care. They just move the goalposts. All right, 8:58. Oh, you know what? Real quick. I got one more slide. The recap for yesterday. Again, Tyler Robinson spotted on campus 4 times. The unspent bullet found on the rooftops. DNA analysis, jury pool questions, and more. 2 minutes. We don't have time to watch it, but go check this video out. It's on Andrew Colvit's page. And yeah, so we'll get into a lot of this tomorrow for 2A Thursday, because I think it's important that people understand how ballistics work, terminal ballistics, bullets, etc. We've already covered this, but we're going to cover it again because now it's in the news. And yes, I can debunk literally every one of your crazy theories, every single one of them. All right, so let's do some shout outs. All right, we got Kittenhead, Carver Jerry, AV 1965, CC Jackson, Miss Mocha Powered. Thank you, Miss Mocha Powered. Lil Patriot, Funmon, got Deb Pollen. Yep, Sean's coming up next with Ungoverned. Everybody make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Join the Beacons, join the Sway. The Sway is super important. That's how we're going to win elections. Jump in, be part of the Misfit Army. We are going to crush every election moving forward if we build a coalition big enough to affect change and create ground game. And I will be the one behind the curtain just moving all of you around the country, like go here, go there, go here. I actually really do. I like that app Sway. It's a very good, useful tool. I was skeptical at first, but it's proven that it's actually something that I think is going to have a lot of effect. Okay, there it is. 9 a.m. Central. Sean Farish is up next. Enjoy Ungoverned. I will see you tomorrow for 2A Thursday. Peace.